It looks like we're in. It says we are live. It's lighting up on my screens. Okay. Testing. Alright, looks like the mic is working. That should be good. Okay. Back down the gain. There we go. Testing. Okay. Beautiful. So I'm going to get you to run out and just test, make sure we sound good before we get going. Then we're going to share. So right now we're testing. If you are watching, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. We're just getting all set up. This is the first time we've done this live feed. Welcome to the Art Den late night. Feel free to say hi. I'm watching over the chat. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Lauren's just heading out now to check the audio. I have let the owner now know that we are now live. We're going to see if he's going to tune in. Now we are doing this piece live tonight. We are going to be finishing this thing up a little bit. Client had some ideas that I kind of liked, so we're gonna do a little final modification on this piece. If you guys can hear me, please let us know. If you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. All right, so what we've got here is we have a glove box. This glove box comes from a rat rod. Gentleman came in a little while ago with this amazing vehicle. Asked me if there was something that we could do. He was really into the horror side of the Art Den. So he had seen quite a bit of the Devil's Night, liked what we were doing with this side of stuff. So was wondering if we could do something for his glove box. So here we go. I have come in. I've got the majority of this piece done. I did it a little bit earlier this week, and I have held off on the final details just because the owner was going through some personal things, and I really did want him to see it before I finalized everything, just to make sure it was, up to his expectations. And I really wanted to make sure that he was happy with it. So when he was having a little bit of problems with his little one, I just said, you know what, we'll just put it on the shelf for a few days, and we'll come back to it when you have a moment. I mean, life happens, right? So, awesome. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So, this is a completely new setup. We've never done this before. We've never taken on doing this as a live feed, but we figured we'd do this next rendition of Late Night in the Art Den on Devil's Night. Kind of fitting. And with doing the Annabelle piece, well, it was also kind of a fitting one. So here we are. Now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming in, we're going to be blasting in a little bit of Blood Red. we're going to be doing some veins into the corners of the eyes, and we're going to try to drag her through. We're going to have to work back and forth here between the blood red Gratex illustration paint, and we are going to be working with the white. I don't want to obliterate the eyes because they definitely have everything that I want in them right now. I don't want to obliterate the blues, but I definitely want to add just a little bit of gritty. I'm thinking that with that little bit of blood red, I might mix in just a hair of green, just in the corner of the eye to kind of get that eerie, growing, dirty, old feeling out of this doll. So we've tried to take it this way so far. I have mixed in a little bit of green into the skin tone. It was the only way I could kind of match the original reference that we used, but it seemed to work out, and it matched pretty good. So I think it's coming along pretty nicely. So I've already got the white done up, but I'm gonna have to mix in just a little bit of blood red. Now, when I'm coming in with these types of details, I could come in with the micron, I could come in with my Eclipse. Really does not matter. Once you get familiar with an airbrush, you understand heavier pigments. You definitely want to go with the Eclipse, but when you're doing a very fine pigment like the blood red, you don't need the micron. Now for the camera, I've mixed in a little bit of the blood red, so I've put about a squirt in there. Now I'm going to put about 50% of reducer to that. Now I'm going to have this mix up. Beautiful. So after you mix a color, when using Createx paints, it is a good recommendation. Let them set for a little bit. You want the reducer to mix thoroughly with that paint. I have noticed if you go right away that you can get a little bit of chunkiness. It seems it's just like it doesn't flow properly, right? And when you're coming in with final details, the last thing you really want is to run into any flow problem. One little flow problem here could erase 4 hours, 5 hours worth of work trying to recorrect something. If I say was coming in here and I got a blowout, and that blowout, say, stretched over into the skin tone, well, that means now I've got to go back in. I've got to go back in with bone white. I've got to go back in with my umber, my green, and my decay to try to make back into this tone, blend it back in so that it doesn't look like I made a mistake. So you really want to make sure that that your paint is responding properly, and you're not going to end up with any type of issues. They do happen, and it's horrible, but you deal with it because that's what you have to do. Okay. No. I'm going to add a little more reducer. Now you can't hear it, but I have a brush set aside here. Now I use this brush when I'm mixing all my paints. I clean it after I mix something up. If I'm doing a piece, sometimes I actually will not clean it that often. And the reason for that is if I'm working in an area, sometimes that little bit of a blend from, say, working with a dark, say, umber or dark decay, that little bit of a blend with, say, a red can just add a little bit of a nice subtone. So sometimes I like to play with those add in places that I may have not done a tone change there, and you get kind of a good effect. Now you can hear that sound is me working with my regulator. I do have a regulator on my gun. This allows me to limit the air right below my airbrush. I can keep the air a little bit higher from my tank, meaning I got plenty of supply, but I can limit down that flow just for when I want to try to nail down a little bit of a texture or detail. Now, as I said with this, I don't want to have this going too hard. You really want to limit down the amount of flow. There you go, it's spraying perfect. Okay. Now, it's probably hard to see that on the camera, but it's spraying beautifully. Now, when you're laying fine detail like this, what you want to do is you want to look for the moment you see paint hitting the surface. And that's going to mean you're going to want a very well lit, very, very bright environment. When I first started, I used to airbrush in a basement, and it was horrible. Because when you have so much darkness, it is really hard to see whether or not you're flowing, and that's when you make a good chunk of your mistakes. Sometimes you want to hold your airbrush and you want to allow a little bit of paint to flow to the surface. And the reason for that is I'll use the airflow to actually spider some of my paint. When I do that, I create a really cool veiny texture. So when I come in to do the eyes and do the veins, by me slowing it down and speeding up my movements on my airbrush, I can actually develop vein-looking lines with blow-ins in the middle of them from my air separating the paint as it hits the surface. That comes in handy when I want to create more of a sporadic pattern, right? If you create anything with an airbrush and you don't make it look organic, people will pick it up right away. So you want sometimes a little bit of chaos in your art, and it helps to make things look more lifelike. Now I've got about 4 little ones here. I'm going to bring one down. Now I'm going to mix just a bit into that eye. corners of the eye, I'm going to make it just a little bit deeper in red, because you would think that the blood would settle in these corners. All right, so that's good there. Yeah, mix up a little bit more white so I can come back into that eye a little bit. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Sometimes I get drawn into the whole paint thing and sometimes forget to explain what I'm doing. I have switched up to my micron for working with the white. Make that little blood drip have a just a bit of reflection. And now we're gonna bring these eyes back up. Now I don't want to obliterate my veins, but what I do want to do is just slightly cover them. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm spraying with a very, very thin airbrushing paint. And when you're spraying with that thin airbrushing paint, not every pass is going to completely cover what you've got underneath. But if you look at veins, veins aren't at the surface of your skin. They're not right there. They're typically underneath a very thin layer of skin or under the surface of your eye. So by me leaving them on the surface, I don't necessarily capture the effect that they are weaving through the eye. By me glazing over them slightly with a transparent paint, you push them back just a hair into the eye. And then by adding a little bit more white on top of the brightest spots, you'll get a bit of a contrast. So as you can see, when I was spraying there, the eyes popped, but I covered a little bit of those veins. I kept the darkest areas untouched because I really just want to get where the light would be reflecting. Beautiful. So I'll just show that to you guys on the camera. Now we're going to be putting some fingers in the corner of this. Alright, just bringing up my reference here that I had found. Marvelous. is we're going to use a freehand stencil here to kind of start. Bless you. Everyone listening in, Lauren just had a sneeze attack. We do not believe it is COVID. Please do not call authorities. Now they are really bright white right now, and that totally does not go with the rest of the piece. That's totally okay. We will push them back. So I kind of have this idea like she's signaling you to come here to her. I thought about having it where she was going to crawl out, but I thought, no, I think someone like Annabelle wouldn't come at you, but would be more inclined to be the one saying, come to me. Come in here so we can play. Uh-oh. Must be ghosts. Move the whole thing. On camera. Could it be? Feeling that her character has a little bit of blood on her hands. A lot of people ask me where I get my love for the macabre and where I get my love for this kind of artwork. It actually started when I was a kid. I was one of those kids that my mom couldn't get me to read. I absolutely hated reading. My son's got kind of the same problem. Until I found Goosebumps. Once I found Goosebumps, my mom would call me at 7:30, 8 o'clock, tell me it's time to go to bed, and I'd already be in my room reading. I was so into getting freaked out by books, and that love of that anticipation, that fear that you get from these characters, and the thoughts and the imagination and how they take over with these characters. I just had an absolute love for them. So R.L. Stine, yeah, that guy definitely influenced it. That was hardcore. I had every single Goosebumps. I had all the Choose Your Own Adventures. Then I went to his other Fear Street books. Then got into Joe Hardy, and I actually started getting to different varieties of books. But I read The Stand. I read Pet Cemetery. I read all these books. I think I was like 12, maybe. But you love what you love. My mom scared the crap out of me when I was little by telling me a story. We went to Roger's Video, where my mom had rent When a Stranger Calls. I'm not sure if anybody would remember that movie. It was an amazing movie. I loved it. The Choose Your Own Adventures were great, eh? And we watched The Stranger Calls, or she was going to watch it. And I asked her what it was. And my mom, not sure what she was thinking that moment, but she goes, well, it's a story about a guy that, sneaks into a child's room, and, he ends up hiding while there's a babysitter, and he keeps calling the babysitter and harassing her from the room upstairs, and she doesn't know he's up there. And I'm just sitting there thinking, there's a kid in that room. What happened to the kid? And I kept asking, well, what happened to the kid? Oh, nothing. She just scared the babysitter. No. He's in the room with the kid. So what happened to the kid? Well, I found out later that there's a reason she didn't tell me what happened to that kid. But I remember that night, I couldn't sleep, and my mom put on this movie. And the way our hallway was, I could actually sneak down our hallway and had a great view of our TV. So I got to watch a little bit of that Stranger Call before I got caught and grounded. Love you, Mom. But, scared to death. And then there was Chucky. I had the My Little Buddy doll. That doll I absolutely loved until I saw that movie. And then, one day, I thought that doll was going to kill me. I swore this doll was coming to life. I thought it was moving. I thought I'd put it in one place, it would end up in another. So I got absolutely panicked beyond belief. I took my Buddy doll and I threw it into my toy box at the very bottom of my toy box, thinking, okay, there's no way that doll is coming out to kill me. I'm good. So I went to school and got home and opened my door. And sure as can be, there's this doll sitting on my bed staring at me from across the room. I screamed like nobody's business. I think they could have heard me 5-6 doors down. My mom comes in. What's wrong? And I told her that the doll was going to kill me, that it had found its way out of my toy box and onto my bed. And my mom looked at me with that look of ever-growing concern and said, honey, I was cleaning your room today and I found him in the toy box, and I put him there. Well, didn't I feel a little bit foolish, but I still swore there was something up with that doll. So me and that doll didn't last long after that. It did find its way eventually back into my toy box. I don't think it ever really found its way back out. But, you know, some things as kids. And then my mom tried to make me feel better about horror movies, so she watched a bunch with me, and I was hooked. Absolutely hooked. Friday the 13th, Halloween. I think the first one my mom ever watched with me was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What was the first horror movie you got to watch there, Lauren?
First one?
Yeah, what's the very first horror movie you ever saw?
Good question. We never really watched horror movies in my house, so I never actually got to watch anything until about my late high school years. So I think the first real horror movie I ever watched was in high school with a bunch of friends. I'm trying to remember if it was Final Destination or One Missed Call.
Oh, those were good ones.
It was one of those ones. It's a very, not overly scary one when I think of it now, but it was like the introduction because I had friends, they were all my girlfriends, we wanted to do something spooky, but we weren't really sure. We were all kind of spooks. We tried it. We did watch it together. I think that was my first one. I think I was like grade 10 or 11.
Final Destinations were good movies. They didn't have the, the impact, say, Jason did and whatnot, but that death was unrelenting in that movie. Okay, so I'm coming in with a little bit of umber. I'm just mixing some paint right now, so I'm filling it with conversation. If you don't like that conversation, well, I'm sorry. Put something in the comments and we'll talk about something we like. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in. I'm just going to add just a little bit of this diseased umber. I gotta be careful with this because it's got a little bit of green in that tone. So that little bit of green wreaks havoc with my green screen in the background. Putting it in the corners of the eyes. I want to make the eyes look rotten inside the skull or inside the head, but glowing like some evil energy is propelling her. If you guys have something that you guys are afraid of, why don't you throw it down in the comments? Love to hear it. What gets you guys going? Do you like horrors? Do you like slashers? It's a thriller. Like what gets you guys? Maybe who's your favorite character? Who is your favorite horror character? I really have a problem with that one. I can't really answer.
Do you have a favorite, Dean?
I really don't have a favorite. I know that's horrible to say. I'm so sorry. But, Jason was there. Freddy's there. I don't know. It's just so hard to pick one. They all have such unique personalities. Fun to watch. Alright, I gotta let this settle for a bit. Just let it dry out, and then we're going to come back in and add some highlights and make it look like those fingers are more round. Right now they look pretty flat. I guess nobody's afraid of anything. No one's commented. Thriller. There we go. We got a comment. Thriller always makes you jump, and definitely don't have a fave. I agree with you. Yeah, it's so hard, right? When you're such a fan of horror and all around, like it's so hard to choose which mass murderer it really hits home. There was some that really bugged me. I really like that the Jason one where he went up to outer space. That was Jason 10, I think that was. That was, I don't know. I'm a big fan, but that one, I don't know. It didn't sit well with me. I think it was just a little bit too out there, being outer space. But I don't know. Did you ever see that one, Lauren?
I can't honestly say I have.
Yeah, they resurrect him. They find him in underneath like this ice cave or something, and they end up bringing him back to life, put him on some regen machine, and goes on a mass killing spree on this ship, and then they think they got him, right? This android kicks the crap out of him.
That's hilarious.
It's a really, really hot android. And then, he ends up falling on this rehabilitation machine that basically reintegrates him in complete metal armor, and I don't know, just not Jason, right? If you got all this metal hanging off of him,
Well, it's true.
That was kind of the thing. You could beat on him, you could mangle him.
Jason was already immortal. He can take a shit kick, and let's be honest, and like he'd still come back. He doesn't need armor.
Right? I don't know how to feel about the new ones. Like, I'm a big zombie fan. I mean, there's some guys that hate on the guy. I'm a huge fan. I love artistic view, right? And he's got his own vision, right? But I like some of the things he did. I don't like some of the things he did. I liked Bay. I mean, he had his own kind of view of Jason when he redid that one. But you're right. Like the originals caught your heart. The originals really freaked you. Like, I still remember today when I was a kid and I watching the scene with the motorhome in Friday the 13th. Right? Like, I still remember that scene, and it has stuck with me since childhood. What does that say about the cinematography that they were able to stick with me over my whole life? I've watched thousands of movies over my life, but that scene I see clear as a bell.
It must have had the most impact on you.
I don't know. Oh, Devil's Rejects all the way. I'm a huge fan. Jaws was amazing at the drive-in. I never got to see that at the drive-in. That would have been cool. That definitely would be cool. We did watch Piranha. The original Piranha, not that new one. We watched that original one the other day. And that was good. I missed that movie. I absolutely missed that movie. If you guys have any characters you want to see me do, throw one down in that in that comment section, because I always want to challenge myself. So if you guys want to see me do something, I'd love to hear your ideas or what you'd like to see me try. We're going to be doing panels now. We're going to be releasing every month new panels for the time of year. Next month, we're going to be working on a Twisted Santa Claus. He's coming out. This month, we've got the Mike Myers shirt. But every project that we get done now, we're going to be releasing a new shirt every month. Kind of a special with our YouTube. So if you guys follow us, you guys want one of those, throw us a message. We're working with a sublimation company to get them made. It's my artwork slapped onto a tee, and then we put a little Art Den logo on the front chest there for you. Helps us out. The money that we sell with apparel and whatnot, we are definitely putting that back into the channel. The more that I get, we also have a Patreon. The more I can help out. We like to donate a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if you guys follow us, you'll see that over the years we have donated quite a bit of time. We like to try to help out as much as we can. Right? I would like to do some pieces for the Ride for Juvenile Diabetes. I used to do panels for them quite a bit. And I've just had so much going on, and I've not had the ability financially with time in order to help support these causes and these groups that I do believe in. Baca being one of them. Those guys are amazing. I've been to a few of the Baca rides. I've been good friends with a couple of the members, and such an awesome I don't know, focus, I guess, awesome goal. Those kids really need their help, and they go into it all weather. They don't care. So, I mean, those guys are just amazing. So they inspire me, right? And I want to be able to do more stuff for them. So the more time I have, if we get support through our Patreon, that means that gives me time that I can donate, and I can dedicate artwork and pieces to get people and draw people to their events. Get them the support they need. A lot of projects that I've done get sent out or given out as raffles, so incentive for people to go. So if you want a shirt, let us know. Helps us out. They look great. Working on a few things. We've got pajama pants coming, I think. Our Den pajama pants. We got some new work shirts we're going to be trying out. Right now I'm coming in with a black, and I am pushing the fingers back into the darkness of the panel, giving them a little bit more depth. Now, if anyone's wondering about this really cool backdrop that we've got here and what it is, we built this out of MDF and epoxy. We ordered some awesome epoxy from Stone Coat Countertops out of the States. And we built a couple countertops for some friends and family. And while I was doing that, I'm like, well, I need to build Tombstone. I'm not sure why. I just felt like I just needed to build this thing. So I built it, put a bunch of plexi in it, lit it up, plugged it in, and here you are. But it's great because all the paint and overspray, it just wipes right off with my reducer. So it's actually awesome. We're going to be showing you guys, if you guys follow our YouTube, we're going to be actually showing you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do some countertops, some prop work. We're going to be doing some electrical work. My background is advanced electronics. before it was airbrush. So we're going to utilize those stoves and have some fun. We're going to give some how-to tutorials. We're going to do some car builds. We're going to be working on some custom car audio, some lighting, some control work. We're going to be working with some Raspberry Pis. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. They're pretty cool. We're going to be putting some sculpt work into some props. We're going to wire them up, make them move. And we're going to show you guys how it's all done. So we got some pretty cool stuff to come up on the channel. How much are the shirts? And how many hair character ones do you have? We're adding more on a regular. I think we've got 3 up now.
Yeah, we got our horror ones.
Three ones up. I think we got Myers, we've got Chucky, we've got Freddy. Yep. I'm probably going to say that. What other ones do we have?
We're working on the specialty Harley Quinn car ones for
the Harley Quinn ones.
For the Harley Quinn car. But I believe that's everything so far. We're planning on getting more as we go. I
have a Jason panel coming up.
Yeah.
We're going to be turning that into a
As
shirt.
we scan more panels and do more artwork, we're adding more to that t-shirt collection.
So we've got, what, 3 on now? 3 current?
Yeah.
Okay. We're also going to be doing, now, hopefully Steve's not listening. If you are, shut your mic off, young man. But we're going to be doing a very special video for the Devil's Night Bike that we did. Characters. He puts on an awesome show up here in London. If you guys are not doing anything tomorrow, I would really like you guys to give him a shout out. He puts out this little haunted house, and he donates food for the food drive. So I've volunteered there a couple times. We're going to be there tomorrow night. We're going to be supporting him. So I think we're going to be doing a little bit of posting from that event. We're going to be giving you his information tomorrow, and we're going to try to get some food. There's a lot of people right now that really need some help. Money's tight all around, and we've got a lot of friends that they're telling us their horror stories right now, and it's really scary. So, and we ourselves are in the same predicament, right? Things are tough, right? But want to help out every way we can. So tomorrow, with the opportunity, for sure, we're out there helping Steve and pitch for a good cause. So, as to the cost of the shirts, I believe we've got them down now to 40.
I think it's 40 for the sale.
Was it 40? Okay.
Yeah, 40.
We originally had a substrate provider that was going to do it for, it was, I think it was 50 they wanted for the shirt.
Something like that,
It was really something really high. But we were able to get it down. So we've now got them down to, I think, 40 on the website. We're putting in an order. When's that order go in?
It was put in today, so they should come in.
Oh, the first order's already put in?
Oh, for the shirts?
For that dragon?
Oh, yeah, the shirt dragon was put in today, so.
Okay.
We should see it in the next week and a half, roughly.
Okay. So, yeah, we should be putting in another order, I'm hoping, by next Friday. If you guys do want one, let us know. I like to try to do a bulk order so that we save on the shipping, because every time we do, we end up getting hit with a little bit of shipping charges. So we want to try to get our shirts out there for you guys, but if we can put them all in one, it makes it easier. So please let us know. But there we go. We've got some fingers. We've got some eyes. We've got some veins. She's got a hole in her forehead. That's where the handle is. But we have Annabelle. All right. we've had our about an hour that we've been going live. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in here. We appreciate it. If you guys like what we're doing, please hit that like, hit the follow, ring the bell. If you don't, you won't get updates when we pump out new material. We've got a bunch of stuff coming out. So thank you guys for tuning in. It is Devil's Night. It's 11:30. We are going to be rolling out of the art den. I'm going to be closing her down, and we're going to go and enjoy the dark night. I think this one has turned out pretty good. I hope you're happy with it. The tension. But yeah, so this bite piece has been awesome. I'm really glad you were happy with it, buddy. And it's been a pleasure doing it. I know we might be doing more on your car, and if so, I will put my heart into that one as well. I wonder if he's gonna say anything more before we sign off. Probably pop up. I hate it. Paint it black. Start again. Oh, earthquake. So, all right. So yeah, to answer your question, 3 shirts, $40 currently. We are working on trying to get that down on price. Seemingly, the best way next for us to move would be to looking at buying a sublimation printer to start making our own. So that's the next adventure, I guess you could say. But all right, guys, I'm gonna call it a night. We're hitting the hour mark. Thank you for tuning in to Late Night in the Art Den with Primetime and Lauren. Yep. We're going to be doing more of these live feeds now that I got this thing to work. That was a good, fun hour of putting this thing together. Yay. But I got it figured. So we'll do more of this on the channel. Will and Annabelle should be coming. Like Will Smith? I love Will Smith. He's coming?
That'd be cool.
He's not really a horror actor, though. We can definitely take this, by the way. If you want, we can take this and make a shirt of it as well. If you would like to see this in a shirt, let us know as well, brother. We can see what we can do to make that happen. But we are going to call it a night. So I have said goodbye a few times, and I will say it again, because I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. And thank you so much. But if you guys have any questions, comments, please leave them down below. It's been a pleasure. Off to have some fun. Out from the art den on Primetime.